Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty fascinating, a real paradox in the food world. How did Nigella Lawson manage to build this, estimated $25 million culinary empire by mid-2025? And get this, without ever opening a restaurant, not one, or even training as a professional chef. It kind of goes against the grain, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's quite remarkable when you look at the usual paths to success in that industry. So our mission here really is to unpack how she pulled off this, highly unconventional journey. We've dug into quite a bit. There's Nigella Lawson, building a culinary empire beyond the kitchen, data from InfoC Media, various reports. And the picture that emerges is honestly crystal clear. Every single dollar, all that influence, it seems to stem from her unique knack for turning storytelling, real authenticity, and just a genuine love of home cooking into a very savvy, multi-channel business.
Right. So this deep dive, it's not just about Nigella or even just food, is it? What you listening can hopefully take away today is a kind of blueprint, maybe for creators, founders, or anyone who's just curious about building something authentic around your passion, your truth. Okay, so if a food empire doesn't start in a professional kitchen, where did Nigella first make her mark? What was the foundation?
Well, maybe surprisingly, it wasn't the stove, it was the page, print. Her first major income stream, believe it or not, came from cookbooks. Her debut, How to Eat, back in '98.
Yeah.
It just matched expectations. Sold over 300,000 copies just in the UK. And remember, this is someone with zero formal chef training. That alone was a pretty big deal.
300,000 copies. Wow. So what was it about those books? If it wasn't chef secrets or techniques, what made people connect so strongly?
That's the key, I think. Her writing style. It wasn't about performance or perfection. It was intimate, almost narrative-driven, She invited readers to feel the cooking, to enjoy it, rather than, say, execute a complex dish flawlessly. The Sunday Times called How to Eat the Most Valuable Culinary Guide of Our Time. That says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It showed this personal connection could actually be more powerful than traditional authority.
Mm-hmm. She bypassed the whole chef thing.
Exactly. And then she followed it up, solidified that voice with How to Be a Domestic Goddess in 2000, focusing on baking, the joy of it.
Yes, that one was huge too, wasn't it? I remember it being everywhere.
It really was. Sold something like 180,000 copies in just 4 months. And it won her the British Book Award for Author of the Year.
Which is pretty rare for a cookbook author, right?
Almost unheard of. So you see, these early books, they weren't just bringing in significant royalties, and we're likely talking 6, maybe 7 figures even then.
Mm-hmm.
They were building the whole foundation, the platform, across all her books, maybe a dozen or more. The estimate is 8 to 10 million copies sold globally.
Wow.
These books essentially redefined the modern cookbook. They became the literary bedrock of her empire.
Okay, so books laid the groundwork, hugely successful groundwork. But for someone building this personal brand, especially back then, late 90s, what's the logical next move?
Television. Absolutely. That's where she exploded into a global phenomenon. And again, crucially, she did it without ever playing the chef role. Nigella Bites, starting in 1999 on Channel 4 in the UK, instant hit.
How big a hit are we talking?
We're talking up to 3.4 million viewers per episode. That's a massive audience for any show, let alone one about cooking.
Okay, so what was she doing on TV that was so different? How did she break that mold?
Fundamentally, she just threw out the standard cooking show format completely.
Yeah.
Her shows were, moody, intimate, very aesthetic, lots of slow motion shots, soft lighting, and her narration, that almost hushed tone. Critics said viewers weren't just learning recipes, they were being seduced by the idea of cooking. It was a whole different vibe.
That's so interesting, because you compare that to, say, other big TV chefs back then, often about speed, technique, maybe a bit of shouting.
Right. And she refused all that.
Yeah.
No chef whites, no pretending everything was perfect. She'd admit to shortcuts, film herself having a midnight snack.
In a silk robe, famously.
Exactly. It presented food as sensual, enjoyable, not a high-pressure performance.
And how did that resonate? What did that do for the brand?
It made her incredibly relatable, especially, I think, for women who perhaps saw themselves in those imperfections, that enjoyment. Rejecting the chef persona wasn't just being herself. It was, you could argue, a strategic move. It tapped into a huge audience that maybe felt alienated by the more technical shows.
Yeah, that makes sense. It proved relatability could trump technical mastery for connecting with viewers.
Definitely. And her TV success just kept going. Nigella Feasts on Food Network, Nigella Express, Nigella Kitchen, Cook, Eat, Repeat. These shows aired in, over 30 countries.
And she kept reaching new audiences too, right? Like guest judging on MasterChef Australia fairly recently in 2020.
Exposed her to a whole new generation.
Mm.
And the business impact of all this TV, beyond just the show fees or royalties.
It must have supercharged everything else.
Absolutely. It amplified book sales massively, boosted brand awareness everywhere, and it built this really strong emotional connection. Her brand started feeling less like instruction and more like a lifestyle, a sort of aspirational comfort.
Okay, so we have the massively successful books, the global TV phenomenon. But how does she translate that influence, that feeling, into something, physical, something people could actually buy and have in their homes?
That was the next logical step, making the brand tangible. In the early 2000s, she launched her Living kitchenware collection. It was a really smart strategic move to give her brand a physical presence in people's lives.
And were these like high-tech gadgets? What was this angle?
No, not at all. And that was part of the genius, I think. The design was very emotional. It wasn't flashy. The items felt like they could have come straight from her own kitchen. They reflected her understated style. Think of those iconic blue and white ceramic pieces.
Right, I remember those.
It meant fans could literally bring a piece of Nigella into their own home. It made the brand feel even more accessible, more intimate.
And commercially, did it work?
Oh, yeah. It was a big success. Sold well in the UK, internationally too, carried by premium retailers. At its peak, the valuation was around £7 million.
Which is, what, nearly $9 million US dollars?
Roughly, yeah. So looking at the bigger picture, this product line added real depth. She wasn't just inspiring the cooking, she was providing the tools. It created this sort of self-contained ecosystem, didn't it? Books create desire, TV reinforces the emotion, products close the loop.
And it's a much more scalable income stream with lower overheads than running, say, a string of restaurants.
Precisely. It showed that a powerful personal brand could shift products just as effectively as a traditional business model.
Okay, let's talk about what many people feel is her, core strength, her superpower. Authenticity. She was doing authentic long before it became this marketing buzzword everyone uses.
That's so true. She really leaned into imperfection, licking spoons on camera, admitting things go wrong sometimes.
The midnight fridge raids.
The fridge raids in the silk robe. It felt raw, unscripted. It made her seem less like a distant TV star and more like a friend you're cooking alongside.
And it's such a contrast, isn't it, to the high-pressure, high-intensity style of maybe a Gordon Ramsay or even Jamie Oliver at times.
Completely different pace. Nigella slowed everything down, warm lighting, those close-ups on textures, the voiceovers feeling almost like secrets being shared.
There's that famous quote from the food journalist Jay Rayner.
Ah, yes. Nigella doesn't cook on television, she seduces.
That nails it, doesn't it?
It really does capture that unique appeal.
And that emotional connection, that poetic way she talks about food, it made her content shareable way before going viral was even a thing.
Absolutely. It's amazing how old clips still pop up and get shared widely today. Like her saying, "I adore brown food." Years later, it still resonates.
It wasn't about chasing virality, it just kind of found her because she was being herself.
Exactly. Her authenticity was the engine for that organic reach.
Now, speaking of strategy, she's also been very clever with partnerships and passive income, hasn't she? Without seeming like she's selling out or overexposing herself.
That's a really key point. She mastered selective visibility. Unlike some figures who seem to endorse anything, she's generally aligned only with brands that fit her sort of elegant, thoughtful identity.
And how did that help long term?
Well, two things mainly. It provided steady, long-term passive income streams. And crucially, it protected her brand integrity. It was smart growth, not just grabbing every opportunity.
Can you give an example?
Sure. A fairly recent one was the 2023 holiday campaign she did with Greggs, the UK bakery chain.
Right. That got a lot of buzz. A bit unexpected, maybe.
A little, perhaps. But it worked. It generated loads of media attention, connected her with younger Gen Z audiences, but somehow didn't feel like it compromised her core brand. The Guardian even made a point of saying Greggs scoffed at reports of a snub, showing how relevant she remains. She's also had long-standing relationships with brands like Waitrose, the supermarket, and various publishers across territories.
So how do these deals, plus things like repeats and book reprints, create scalable revenue without her constantly needing to be on?
It's the beauty of leveraging existing assets. She earns royalties from books still in print, TV shows syndicated in, again, over 30 countries, international licensing deals, all generating income with minimal new effort or infrastructure required from her side. It really proves that sometimes restraint, being selective, is the smartest business strategy. It leads to longevity.
And here's maybe the most forward-thinking part of it all. Nigella basically tapped into the creator economy model years, maybe decades, before we even had a name for it.
You're absolutely right. She pioneered this kind of multi-platform business built on content, on audience trust, on personal storytelling, way ahead of the curve.
To day one. Right
From day one.
Yes.
She never just sold a recipe. She sold a feeling, an experience. And that built this incredibly loyal audience that became her biggest asset. Unlike chefs tied to a physical restaurant, she created scalable content books, shows that lived in people's homes. The cookbooks were lifestyle guides. The shows were like visual comfort food, the products an extension.
And crucially, this creator-first approach, as we'd call it now, allowed her to stay independent, didn't it?
Completely. She retained full control over her voice, her brand. She could monetize on her own terms without needing the approval of traditional gatekeepers like restaurant investors or network executives dictating formats.
She was using the same levers that drive successful online creators today: ownership, authenticity, direct audience connection.
Just 15, maybe 20 years earlier. It's quite remarkable when you frame it that way.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here? What does Nigella's journey really tell us?
Well, I think it's powerful proof, isn't it? Proof that you don't need the conventional badges, the restaurant, the culinary degree, the Michelin star to build a massive $25 million empire in the food world. What it does demand, it seems, is clarity about who you are, consistency in how you show up, and maybe the courage to build something based on your own truth, not someone else's formula.
Yeah, she didn't win by playing the established game. She succeeded by building trust. Through writing, people actually wanted to read. Through TV that felt intimate. Through a brand that was just unapologetically her.
She wasn't just early. She helped shape the landscape we see now. The books were the base, TV expanded the reach, products made it tangible, partnerships scaled it. And that refusal to compromise, to play by standard rules, let her control it all and monetize it across different platforms. It's a model modern creators are still striving for.
So for you listening, maybe you're a writer, a creator, an entrepreneur. Her story is a really compelling blueprint, isn't it?
Definitely. It says, start with passion, sure, but scale it smartly, with strategy. Own your story. Choose depth and connection over just speed or volume. Be early if you can, but always, always be yourself.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe. In this era where everyone can be a brand, what really makes someone stand out? What gives them lasting power?
It's probably not about how loud you shout.
Right. Maybe it's about how real you're willing to be. That seems to be what made Nigella Lawson timeless.
That's what made her successful, what made her rich, and maybe that's what can make your work, whatever it is, truly matter too.